In this next video, I'm continuing my playthrough of Axis Empires, and I'm going to be covering the entire summer season of 1938. It's going to be make up 3 turns. I don't have a lot of pictures for this. A lot of political events were going on, and not too much action on the map. But anyway, let's go down to the map. So it's summer 1938, starting with the May-June turn, and we're going to begin on the European map. So the Axis player reveals a new strategy. This time it is support nationalists. So there'll be 3 turns, summer turns, using this strategy. And it allows me to add influence, and I add influence to the country of Yugoslavia. Also, Germany receives 1 infantry corps, which is deployed directly to the map, and then I make a roll on the political events table. Also, I roll a die for the Civil War table, which is on the card, and this time I get a nationalists win a victory. So the Spanish marker, the Spanish Civil War marker in Valencia, is now flipped from the Republican side back to the nationalist side. And at this point, the only Republican stronghold remaining is Madrid. Then we go to the Western Allies strategy. They reveal Little Entente. So this is basically a negotiation between the Western Allies and some of the Central European countries, probably Czechoslovakia. And this card allows France to receive an infantry unit, which is deployed directly on the map. And then we roll on the political events table. And the result of that roll is conflicting plans, no event. The Soviet Union reveals their cards support the Republicans. So they get to deploy an infantry corps to the map, but then they roll a die on the political events table. And the result is the bells toll for thee. So the Soviets send infantry into Spain, and the Republicans win a battle in Barcelona. As shown in the map, you can see I have it circled there, and Barcelona flips back to Republican control. Now we go to the Daisenso map. It's May and June of 1938, and the Japanese have their new strategy revealed. First, Navy expansion. The Chinese communists have a strong position in the city of Taiwan, so the Japanese launch a major attack, which is supported by the Air Force, and this is repulsed by the 8 war zone defenses. And the Japanese also deploy a detachment in Eniwetok of the Marshall Islands. Then we have the play of the Allies. They reveal Chinese war production. So the nationalist Chinese are able to bring some replacements into the battlefield. And we do have a historical quotation from Chiang Kai-shek, where he said, allegedly, "We shall not talk lightly of sacrifice until we are driven to the last extremity, which makes sacrifice inevitable." Then we go to the Soviet player, and the Soviets reveal support of the Chinese insurgency. And this is primarily a political card, so we roll on the political events table, and the resulting event is the struggle continues. And there are no attacks there, but I do have a quote regarding this card from Zhu Di, which is as follows. "You must know how to destroy roads and railways, armored cars, trucks, and tanks. You must know how to destroy completely all roads over which the Japanese can move their mobilized columns." Again, that quote corresponds with the strategy Chinese insurgency. That brings the May-June 1938 turn to a close. So we're going to go back to the European map for June and July of 1938. So the Axis starts with the support the nationalists again, which leads to another victory in Barcelona. So now the city goes back from Republican control to nationalist control. The Western Allies are focusing on the Little Entente, their diplomacy in Central Europe, but nothing really comes of it. But they are led to the diplomatic success result on the political table, and when they roll again, it's a setback. So again, it's basically a no event. And then the Soviet Union plays into the Spanish Civil War again, supporting the Republicans, and this time they roll the dice on the charts, and it results in a stalemate. So everything stays the same at this point in time. Now we go back to the Daisenso map for the June-July 1938 turn. And we have the Japanese commander is attacking the city of Taiwan again. And the Chinese communists are the defenders there. Again, a stalemate. Both sides suffer losses, which is very reminiscent of the type of fighting that happened in China in 1938. Also, the Japanese player deploys a detachment to Palau. Just a note, the detachments are very small units. They don't really conduct combat, but they are useful for holding control of a location. So in this case, the island of Palau is going to be controlled by a very small Japanese force, which we are calling a detachment. Then we go to the Allies, and the Chinese nationalists are building up their forces with the Chinese war production strategy. And then we go to the Soviets, and the Soviets are focusing on insurgency, so they're going to roll the dice on the political table again, and they get another result. The struggle continues, so not much comes out of it this turn. That brings the June-July 1938 to a close. So we're going to go to July-August, back to the European map. The Axis starts with the Germans again focusing on supporting and resolving the Spanish Civil War. And so they roll a die on the Civil War results table, and the result is Republican infighting, which leads to a nationalist victory. So as shown in the picture here, the last Republican influence is in Madrid. And so that is removed, and the Spanish Civil War comes to an end, and it ends in a nationalist victory, which is really the historical result. The nationalist government is in complete control in Spain, and Germany gains influence, and it is placed in Bulgaria. The Western Allies are still focusing on the Little Entente, and they consult the political table, and the result is the Central Area table from this diplomacy. So the Poland ends up receiving a Western Allies influence marker from this. Since the Spanish Civil War is over, the Soviet card is really obsolete because it was support the Republicans, and they don't really exist anymore. So that brings the July-August 1938 turn on the European map to a conclusion. So let's go back over and finish out the season on the Daisenso map. The Japanese commander launches an attack, this time against the KMT forces, which are holding the area just north of Taiyuan. And this time the Chinese units are destroyed, but the Japanese suffer attrition. The Japanese also gets another detachment. They deploy this to Iwo Jima. The nationalists are building the Chinese industry, the military, so they get a replacement, and it is placed with the headquarters in Kiangsu. And the Soviets are still using insurgency, and they roll on the political table. It results in the struggle continues. So basically no effect. So that brings the summer season of 1938 to a conclusion. So stay tuned if you'd like to see what happens going into the autumn of 1938 in the next video. Have a great day.